Mm-hmm. Good evening, everybody, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, germs, whatever you like to be called. Tonight, I got a story coming to you. But before we get to our story, I want to welcome the panel, always the Sunday panel with us. DT's in the house. Welcome aboard to the show tonight, guys. DT's in the house. You know, he always got that Billy D voice. Hello, guys. And back again with us, it is a pleasure to welcome Big J. Dill. Welcome to the table.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the table, I should say. So, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going into South Carolina. This story might be a little disturbing, but I thought it was one that we had to bring to the table because it does consist of school kids, and I think we should know what our school kids face. Some of us don't realize what our kids go through when they go through school, and I was just shocked to find out who it was. I watched this person perform for years on the basketball court, but now it's a whole different aspect. So just to get a concept of what we're going to talk about tonight, I'm going to go straight into the story. This story comes directly to you from Law and Crimes. You can find it on YouTube, and it is reported by Sierra Gillespie. So, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get into the story. Okay, we're going to stop it there. Just for everybody who doesn't know what a resource officer is, it's almost like a security guard for school. This guy was around, I don't want to say just teenage young ladies, but as we get further to the story, you're going to realize the things that he's done and how long he's been doing it. So let's continue before we get to the panel to get questions and we get answers. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I'm going to end it here. I'm not going to go any further with the story. If you want to read the story, make sure you connect onto your YouTube page, look up Law and Crime, Sarah Gillespie, and you can hear the whole story. Right now, I'm just going to break down what we heard so far. So I'm going to open the panel right now, and I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to give their thoughts. Let's start with Big Jane, though. Yes, please. Very enlightening, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Yes.
You let him go to a high school, a middle school, and an elementary school, and he basically skated through all of this for 10 years.
10 years. 10 years. And It also said that he was able to keep his job while going through such matters. Here's the reason why I broke the story. No, I didn't break the story. Here's the reason why I want to talk about the story. I felt that when you send your child to school, right, you should never have to worry about teachers, security guards, or anything of that nature trying to take your child in secluded areas, put them in squad cars, anything of that matter. You would never expect it to happen in this nature. And the fact that he even was able to do it for so long. So even though the people you may think is talking about it, people who may have heard about it, but no one reported it. It took one female to report the whole thing. What do you think is going to happen at this time? You know, and the reason why I always say is because we just got over a lot of school shootings. You get a lot of students in these urban areas who go through certain aspects and they realize that things like this happen to them and they can't call anybody. There's no one to rely on. There's no one to reach out to. And in return, most of these students pick up a gun. And I'm not saying that this is the case, but I'm saying that these are things that lead up to school shootings. Because you have someone like this. Is he considered a predator? Is he a child molester? What do you consider him at this case? Because right now, he shamed himself. Did he get a break because he was a basketball star? Because he was a sheriff? Because through all this whole accusations or this whole thing that he was accused of, he only got 5 years probation. 5 years probation. That's disturbing.
That is.
It is. Mm-hmm.
It's like, from our city where we're from, it's like if you do anything like that, especially if you're an African American man, you're getting slapped with.
Yes.
God knows how long, many years. But for somebody like him to get away with it and still continue his life in different eras of his journey is like, how do you live with that? How do you continue to sit there and praise somebody and shake his hand, hug him, say, oh, thank you for your job, thank you for your time at
Right.
day, and he still sits there and do what he do. And it's like, as parents, you sit there and you send your kid to school and you're like, is my kid safe? Is my kid not safe?
Mm-hmm.
And you think, okay, if my kid is in school and they have school safety and guardians, deans, and parent coordinators, whatever, they're 100% safe. But look at this story right here. Sometimes some students are not safe, and it's like the time and his consequences doesn't add up. He shouldn't got that type of consequence. I feel like he should have been in jail and hit with years. Because that was anybody else differently, like in our city, God knows what would happen to him or her.
Right. Right. What I'm saying to you is, do you think they gave him leniency?
I definitely think they did, due to what he did. Like, he was a sheriff. He was a superstar as a basketball player in his high school or wherever.
College.
Also college. He was a superstar. But it don't matter if you're a superstar or not. At the end of the day, you're still human and you still violated somebody's personal space and rights. So why should you sit there and get a leeway or a pass from anybody just because of the job that you have? It doesn't matter what job you have.
This is tough. What do you say to the young ladies who are in this situation? Now, there is one case where they say, like I said, when you get a chance, make sure you follow the story. Law and Crime on YouTube. Sierra Gillespie is reporting the story. And they broke the story. This has been going on for a while. But my thing is, what do you tell a young lady who really doesn't like the advancement, but yet she's caught in the patrol car with this guy? And he got caught on numerous occasions. Not just once, not just twice, numerous occasions. 10-year resident. Now, my thing is, how do you know he didn't do it through this time of him being in college?
Right.
Does he get to still hold his status as the leading scorer of a national D1 school? What kind of representation or what kind of message are you sending these young kids who are looking for people like that when things go wrong? Can you rely on your officer to say, yo, you know what, I'm going to protect you? And we're not talking about peace officers in the street. Let's get that clear right now. He was a sheriff's department, but I do believe he worked closely with the school chancellor or of something of that nature. But the fact that am I going to say he got away with it? No, he didn't get away with it because now it's out. But the fact that he gets to walk away with 5 years probation, as a parent, that would make me upset. I would definitely have some type of hatred in my heart, like you said. I'm not sure if I want to pull my child out of the district that maybe that sheriff department is running, or I mean, how far did you go? You know,
it's like you wouldn't know how far to go. Some parents may say, or even not a parent, a person who sits there and has a mature type of mindset might say, hey, let's sit here and do it the right way through the law. But other people might say, forget the law, like,
right,
we're going to handle it our own way. But, like, in the way you put it, you might say it's a winning situation, but at the end of the day, it's not a winning situation because now you might get hit with a different type of time due to you harming him.
Right.
And it's like, it sucks, but it's a lose-lose situation. And a lot of people might say, you say it's a lose situation, but how do you win the situation? It's like, I feel you can't win the situation.
Right.
Because the outcome is either going to be you either dead, because you're tattling him, he might hurt you, or you might just get locked up. And now how would your child feel knowing that, hey, I put my parent through this or my siblings through this because of the situation I've been through? And it's like, but it's not necessarily your fault. This is a person who doesn't know what they're doing. And it's like, okay, if you've been in it for so long, like, look down, where did it start? Did it start in college? Did it start for years? Did he go through a situation where he was touched on and stuff like that? Like, what made him do this? Like, you always have to start with the background story and find the foundation of where did this all start. Because it didn't just start as him being a social officer in the school and area. It had to start from way before that. But where did it start?
You cried, Miss Jane, though. You very quiet. Are you shocked?
Yes. If it was me personally, I would take matters into my own hands.
I think I would too.
Nobody
But what at this point, to be honest with you, what could you possibly do that the state or the government hasn't already done?
Yeah, true. Now you're not like, let's say if people do take matters into one hand, that doesn't change the fact that your child got touched on,
right? Or
your child been through what he or she been through with this person. So hurting him, getting rid of him, or trying to push him to go to jail, that's not changing the fact that my child got touched.
And he gets to keep his accolades. Yes, it does. It does. It stops. But the damage already has been done.
Yeah. And you're saying it stops, right? But like I said, you take matters to your own hand. You get caught. You get hit with a different type of time. Let's say it hit you with 4 years or 10 years, whatever they hit you with. That's those many years you're out of your child's life. So you might say, hey, I'm gonna take matters to my own hand. But like I said, the damage is already done.
Let's think about the children the young ladies who probably didn't speak up. About the ones he might have advanced on. I might do a part 2 to the story because now my mind is racing of what did he do during his time during college. This is not something that just came on that you're sitting there and you're putting young ladies in your squad car and you're being found in the parking lot doing sexual advances towards these young ladies. Now, I don't want to make it seem crazy, but the reason why he took probation was so they wouldn't have to put him on the sex offense registry. And I think that right there speaks a lot of volume to your victims. If you are the state, the school, the sheriff department, anybody who's involved with prosecuting this young man, you have to look at the victims and the damage that he's done. To me, it seemed like he got a pass because of his accolades. Because, remember, he's still working in South Carolina. You went to school in South Carolina. You became a D1 South Carolina #1 scorer in school history, but it's a possibility that you're a sex offender. Is it right for that man to keep his accolades? Because he made a good point. DT made a good point. He said that if it was an ordinary black man, if it was a citizen, somebody probably knew, let's use New York City because we here. We know the Bronx right now is going through their own hot spot right now. We got our own situation going on with our public officials and our city workers and government stealing checks and things like that. And we just watched the president of the United States, ex-president, he just got not exonerated, but he found guilty, but did no charges on federal charges. So I'm not surprised. I'm quite hurt. I'm quite hurt that the system would allow this man to embarrass his victims, but yet you give him leniency. Now, I could go on and play the rest of the story. You can get more facts in the story. You can get a better understanding of the story, but then it wouldn't be our podcast. It would be Sierra Gillespie's podcast. I just use hers to bring a forefront to what people can understand what we're talking about and why we're talking about it. Many of us send our children to school. Many of us send our children to school to trust the people that are around us. Teachers, security guards, nurses, doctors, social workers. And it seems like lately these are the people who are attacking our young men and women. And I said, before, things like this lead up to children wanting to pull guns in school. And you know why they pull guns in school? Because when other students find out about things like this, kids get teased. Mm-hmm. They get teased real bad. Oh, I heard that you was in the... And that doesn't stop. Mm-hmm. Kids don't stop. Kids will find every way and every prospect to be as nasty as possible to a kid who's sitting in the middle of some bullshit. What do we do? Because no matter what you do now, they already suggested and gave this man probation. He got probation for sleeping with minors. Probation. This offended me a little bit. As a father who has 2 daughters and multiple stepdaughters, I'm baffled by it. It wasn't even my story of choice tonight. But I said, damn, this has to be something we have to talk about. We can't let things like this slide under the table. There's too many people who hold position are able to slide under tables by doing certain things that we are supposed to uphold within the law. People who work in organizations on a low level, they have to learn to use their badge a certain way. They have to carry themselves a certain way. Like you work for the Army, and you're in the cadets. By any chance, you think if we were going through something like this, would you be able to still keep your status where you at?
Not at all.
Right.
What
makes this so clear? Because he was a basketball star? Or the fact that he was a sheriff of the same state he performed in?
I just feel like one thing I could think of is his status of his connections,
right.
What he knows. Because in these organizations and laws and stuff like that, when you're entwined or entangled or even connected, use that better word, connected with a lot of higher ups, and I'm not talking about ranks, I'm talking about just powerful people of the government, things like that.
People
when you're connected to people like that, it's like, hey, look, I did this for you, you owe me one. And they're able to play those cards to get what they need. And I'm saying, sometimes it might get them out of the full trouble, but it might get them out of half of the trouble. And it's like, that's probably what his situation was. He had people he was connected with in South Carolina that was powerful. Because, like I said, we don't really know a lot of powerful people in Carolina, but he probably do, because he was a sheriff, I'm quite sure his attention coming from a D1 school playing, basketball in college. He met a lot of good people who since then probably sponsors his team
Good
and
point.
probably sat there and invest into him
Good
and his
point.
team. And they know a lot of people
Yeah.
in that resource of that nature. So that could definitely play a huge part.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't matter.
I agree.
It shouldn't.
If you are defending someone who's hurting young females, like if the person was a male who was defending him, imagine how could you not imagine yourself in that position of that was my kid you did that to? How
Right.
would you sit there and still want to defend him?
I feel like for that part, they don't care because it's not their kid. It's somebody else's kid.
Mhm.
And some people don't care about other people's kids. But like you said, and I agree with you, think of it if that was your kid in that situation. What would you do, especially if you're a powerful person in this district or this nation or whatever you want to call it? But like I said, it's not their kids getting put in harm's way. So it's like, hey, it is what it is. But you're right, it shouldn't be like that.
I think that's a difficult task for a parent because you basically going up against an icon.
Mm-hmm.
The state already put this guy on a certain type of pedestal because of his nature. His ability to score basketball, or maybe like Deja said, DT said, he might have scored a certain amount of accolades, or he might have brought certain type of endorsements to the school that wouldn't be usually brought to the school. All that adds up to the fact of this guy getting 5 years probation, and he has to complete 3 years, and it'll go away.
That's crazy. I feel like instead of those 5 years of probation, even if it's not enough, but at least the 5 years inside jail or prison would have been better than 5 years of probation. And some people might still say, hey, I feel it should have been more, 15, 20, whatever high number you believe, but it's like, it's his status, his pedestal that he sits on. How much, years would you really want for him? A lot, I agree. But it's like, because the situation that he's in and the people who he knows, you're not going to get the results that you're really looking for.
Never.
So it's like, why don't we just, and again, I don't like to say it, but why don't you just accept what you can get? Like the 5 years in prison, I feel like it's way better than 5 years in probation. And then within 3 years of completion, it goes away. That's not good. Like, I'd rather 5 years in prison than 5 years in probation.
So 5 years makes up for 10 years of
molestation.
It definitely don't. But like I said, I'd rather him suffer in prison than be out of prison and just have 5 years probation. Because what if 5 years probation doing to him? He's still walking. He's still free.
That's true.
He still get to go wherever he want to go. But in prison, where he going? Between cells and 4 walls. He ain't going nowhere.
So he would have the power to get 5 years of probation. After those 5 years of jail, what do you think is going to happen?
He starts his life over, right? Basically.
He do, yeah,
Or what
but
if he starts it up again?
He's going to.
But hey, look.
So 5 years is nothing. Just because I did good in school, that gives me the
slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I did good in basketball and all that. Everybody likes me. I got fans. Now I got the green pass to go molest little girls.
Right. Like you say, within 5 years, he's out, he's back on the streets. But we don't know if 5 years he'll be back out. Because some people in prison don't take that lightly. So, no, not to wish death on him, but anything can happen in prison. And within those 5 years, we don't know that.
I agree with that part.
So, like I said, not sound disrespectful, but I'd rather him suffer 5 years. And if anything happened to him, that's on him because what he did, that's his consequences. But like I said, 5 years of probation, he's walking. He's free. But in prison, like, people who take that stuff serious, like I said, they're going to harm him. He's going to get what he deserves. Because at the end of the day, you scarred somebody's kid for life. At a young age, as a young girl, you got to remember when you get older, hey, I got touched on by this person who I thought would protect me. I got touched by this person who I thought was a mentor.
And it doesn't technically say that he got fired.
Right.
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say, technically that he got fired. I mean, usually when things like that happen, they're usually able to pass on to another department in another state. Your accolades are fresh, things like that. So, this reminds me of the NFL, and I'm gonna say why. To me, I think the NFL does something similar. Not to take shots at the NFL, but there are some players in the NFL who batter and bruise their women. Maybe some are accused of rape, allegedly. And the fact that you have an organization that big who's capable of covering up certain aspects of a person's offense, and then there are some people who they just put in the media just wide open. This guy had 10 years to reign. Now if you read the story, if you go further into the story, it lets you know that they were partners, associates who knew, who had concern, they had their doubts, but nobody spoke up right away. It took one person who spoke up, and then the floodgates opened up. And pretty much this happens on all occasions. You know what hurts me the most? That he's black.
I was gonna ask that.
Yes.
Was he white? Was he black?
Yes.
But I didn't
Is he, yes, he's black. He's black. And the fact that even hurts more, because in this social media world, they already think we're ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
They already give us the ability to say, you know what, you can play, but you can't read and write. So I'm going to say to that point, you don't know what type of things were thrown his way. If it was embedded in his mind, so something makes a person do what they do. You don't just wake up and say, today I'm going to put a young lady in my squad car and force her to kiss me and do all of that. Like, I don't get that part. Now, you in your 40s. He's, at this time that he's taking probation, he's 45 years old. Which means not that far off from college, just finished, maybe 20 years. So in this 20 years, remind yourself he had 10 years as a sheriff. Now, before them 10 years as a sheriff, he was playing some type of college ball, some type of recreational. Who's to say that this stuff didn't happen in college?
Right. But it was never discovered.
It never discovered. Now, what if that comes out now? Then what?
Now it'll be a bigger story.
Yes.
And I was saying before, like, this had to start somewhere. This didn't start when he was a sheriff. Like, did it start in college? Did it start in high school, middle school, elementary? It had to start somewhere. It didn't just start from him as a sheriff. If he'd been doing it for 10 plus years, or 10 years exactly.
I don't think we learned anything. As much black athletes, police officers, firemen, sanitation, black men in general who work high ranking jobs, I don't think we have learned anything. I think we take for granted sometimes that our accolades are stronger than life itself, where we feel that we can walk the way we want to walk and talk the way we want to talk. Can you imagine what his victims are going through right now, knowing that he got 5 years probation, he's still able to walk the street, you still got to see him or run into him because he can't leave the town until he finishes probation.
Mm-hmm.
How rough is that?
That's really rough. Like I said, I gotta run into this guy who sat there and harm me in any way.
Right.
Like, even though the damage already done, you're adding more break-ins and spots open into that damage. Because like I said, gotta see this guy. Whether it's in the streets, whether it's in school, whether it's in a counseling, whatever you're at, wherever you're going to do for plenty of your day, at some point you gotta run into this guy, and that's the worst feeling ever. Now you worry about, hey, I gotta look over my shoulders, like, or when I run to the guy, do I ignore him? Do I have to interact with this guy? Is a lot. There's a lot of questions that you do for the the victims are gonna ask themselves. If hope they don't, but if they do run into this guy again.
I don't know. I just had to change the audio. I realized we was coming through but we gonna just keep it running because it's a good story. I'm just hurt. I'm hurt because as black men, like I said, there's some of us who try our best to live in shadows of other black men who do certain things, certain aspects, who live a certain way. And we try our best to live that way. We try our best to, live within the law. And you get some people like this who who find it capable that they can break the law anytime they want to. What does it take? What are you going to tell these victims now?
Nothing you can tell them.
There's not even no time to who you're going to sue. You know, there's no restitution for this. How do you sue somebody who got probation? Do you bring on a civil suit? And who do you bring the civil suit against? The police department? The state of Carolina? Possibly the school for knowing that this young man had this type of situation going on and no one helped? Are we living a lie? What are we doing? It's so much going on right now across the world. It seems like every black man who sits in an important seat right now is being drugged through the mud. And the fact that we can see it, we know it, there's nothing we can do about it, and most of us are ashamed. Most of us we don't want to take the time to say, you know what, this is the solution, because there's no solution. We're killing each other. The men are raping the women. The children are killing each other. The black men are stepping on each other. The black women are fighting over the men who are stepping over each other, and the children have no guidance. This is the world we live in right now. Society itself has become one big battlefield. And I don't even know if we're fighting for the right to live, the right to exist, or the right to perform. Because we're stepping on each other. And it doesn't matter how we do it. This is a very disturbing story. It's a possibility that this college might have known this kid was doing this, or this young man, and you allow him to be a sheriff in a Carolina state organization. And it comes to this: 5 years probation for 10 years of molestation or child sex, a sex offender. Let's not say child, because they weren't child. They were minors, but they weren't children. They were young adults. They still were minors, so I don't want to say child. That's a whole different aspect when you say child. But we will say minors. 10 years. And who knows before that? Because like you say, you don't just come along and this happens to be one of those things like, oh, I'm just doing this now. No, you've been doing this shit for a long time. Mm-hmm. Long time. And who are your lawyers? Who are your lawyers? Are your lawyers not ashamed of what you do? I ask for questions, Drew. Question for the panel. Knowing that you're a defense lawyer, could you defend someone like this?
Me, I'll be sure I can't. It may look bad on my organization, or my company, or my division, or whatever type of word they use to call themselves the unit. They go unit. It may look good. I mean bad on our unit, but it's like, no, like Big Jane Doe said, like, I can't sit here and support somebody doing this, because like I said, why was it my kid? Do I want to sit and defend somebody who did this to my kid?
Right.
I'm not gonna defend nobody. If anything, I may, sit and go as a offensive attorney. Nah, if you defend him, like, what are you defending him? There's too many proofs and stuff out there that he's been doing it for so long.
It's your job, though.
That's my job, yeah, but
you get paid to do that.
Don't even bring the case to me.
Yeah, just pass it on to somebody.
Give it to somebody
It may be hard to
Wow.
pass on the case. Don't get me wrong, but that is what I just can't defend. Like, what am I defending? He's out there already. There's too many proof. There's accusations. There's a lot of people, witnesses that seen these things going on for so long. What am I defending? What they're gonna put probably 10, 20, 30. How many people they put on the stool? To sit there and speak about what they saw him do in his parking lot or throughout the school area or his job area, and it's like the judge will look at me like, yeah, I understand you defending him, but you're losing right now. What ammo do I have in my suitcase to defend this person who's been doing it for so long? I don't have any. I can't defend him.
His accolades.
That's not gonna get but so far.
He got a 5 years probation.
Yeah, Judge. He did good in basketball, so
right.
let him slide.
Right.
No.
But it worked.
That's a sad thing.
The judge is corrupt too.
I would say that. I think everybody had to play a part. For you to get 5 years probation,
That's what I'm saying.
yes, the judge had to play a part. The prosecution had to play a part. Because you have to agree to that. You have to agree to that 5 years. You can't just tell a person, yeah, I'm going to give you. You have to agree to that. The prosecutor, the judge, and everybody who's involved with that have to agree to that. They have to agree to that.
And I'm saying everything leads back up to his connections, the people who he knows. Let's be honest. This kid was in the college for D1.
D1.
A lot of important people who sponsor, who wants to come see him, they would invest back into our college and invest back into him.
Right.
So you don't know who he met along the way, his journey in college of playing basketball. And then some people he met in college might drag him to him becoming a sheriff inside the sheriff department and might build on from there. So, like I said, if I'm not mistaken, South Carolina is a small little area. So everybody knows everybody. So for that agreement to happen, is like some way, somehow, he knows a person who knows that person and so on. To sit there and build that type of result or this consequence of 5 years of probation. Ain't no way.
But that's stupid. How could you defend that? You, even if it isn't your own kid, you got nieces,
Right.
grandchildren, godchildren, that are all girls, and you just gonna sit there and be like, yeah, it's okay what he did. He did good in basketball, so it is what it is.
Kickbacks? You think somebody took something under the table?
Definitely.
Wow.
But I also say this as a defense attorney, like defense lawyer, I'm gonna sit there and say, hey, he or she who sat there and defended him on the case, deep down, they may not sat there and agreed what he did, but like you said, that's their job. So, it might suck to say, but you can't hate the person for doing their job. That's what they involve themselves into doing. So whether you hate your job or not, whether the person is right or wrong, you're gonna defend it because that's your position. You're gonna pay your position to sit there and make sure that you're doing your job. Because the first thing you're gonna hear about you get to work is why you didn't do your job. You failed. You did this. You do that. So a person on the inside might sit there and say, "Damn, I don't like defending this, but what choice do I have?" So it looks like a defense attorney / lawyer might sit there and approve of it, but we gotta think about this: what cards do they have to play? Yeah, like we said, we could skip the case, but how we know if they can't skip the case? So it may be a lose-lose situation for them as well.
One person can cause so much demise in a state that, and you know what's crazy? I told somebody this, and I know it's far fetched, but being that South Carolina is below the Mason-Dixon line, and it just seems like because he was black, I don't want to pinpoint that his victims might have been black because we're not sure. They don't say. But I'm pretty sure, to my knowledge, they have to be, because there's no way a black man in South Carolina is going to have sexual advances towards white women or any woman of light-skinned nature and get away with it. To me, they just sent the message that it's okay as long as the women are black. I got that message too. That was one of the things that disturbed me about tonight too, because it's one of those things where you look at it, and as much as you try to pinpoint and you look and you say, this can't be true, it is true. We have a lot of time on our hands, people, and most people spend their time. I mean, he was at work putting young ladies in his squad car and parking in the parking lot. So obviously he didn't hide.
He didn't care.
You know what I'm saying?
Because he already knew that.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to stop him. Yeah, people, red flags raise up a little bit, had their concerns, but some people seen this. So if you've seen this, why did the red flag go down? Why didn't you speak up? You could have probably saved somebody's child's life of humiliation, but you didn't. Why? Because possibly you was cool with him, or you knew him, or he did a favor for you. So you just, hey, I'm gonna look the other way. I don't see nothing.
Well, not to cut you off, and I'm sorry. To be fair, in the story, it does let you know that there were people who noticed his behavior. Some were reported. My thing is, for those who did report it, was the report followed up?
Mm-hmm.
Because you again, we have to say 10 years. So he's 42 now. So you're saying by the time he was 32, or by the time, which means he didn't play professional ball. Did he go overseas? Like I said, them times that he spent before he was sheriff, does he have any type of registry or sex offender offensives at that time? Because you in high school surrounded by nothing but women in Carolina. How many women have he sexually advanced on in college that no one's talking about? I think this is a story that's going to take a large effect on a lot of athletes. You just sent a message to a lot of athletes. To me, that it just might be okay if your accolades are high enough. That you can go around and do basically anything you want, depending on the state that you're in. Because let's understand something. These colleges, they bring their states a whole lot of money. Maybe not in places like New York City, but you got little towns and districts in upstate New York, in Carolina, North Carolina, Delaware, Jersey. They got these colleges that sit in these small towns where these colleges basically feed the town. I've been to one. West Virginia, Morgantown. If I could tell you the stories of the times I've been in there, from the Stansbury Gym all the way to Pennsylvania Avenue, there has been things that went on while I attended that school. And people say, well, Rand, you just as bad because you didn't report. But I didn't see anything sexually, only by word of mouth. You hear these things about these star athletes who do certain things with these women. But at the same time, I do not want to be misunderstood and not say that women sometimes put themselves in these situations with these athletes, with these men in uniforms, and all kind of things. If you do not want to be part of the next news report, please remember, watch yourself. Take care of your vision so you can always see around you. Because the devil can sneak up on you with you looking straight at him. And you just don't know he's the devil because he's the person you want to see. We have to be careful. I think I'm going to do a follow-up on this story too. But I'm also going to go to the NFL and deal with another story, excuse me. It's a situation that took place with a quarterback by the name of Watson. I want to get into that. And it's almost the same thing. But money's on the table with this one. And it's very disturbing. Like I said, these athletes and these people of high nature or who sit on high seats, they put themselves in certain predicaments. And when these predicaments come to the media or they come to the forefront, the first thing they want is special treatment. But I want to thank everybody for sitting with us at the Sunday table. I want to thank DT always for sitting with me at the table, and Big Jane Doe, who is starting to become a regular at the table, which we love. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
On behalf of the TNT RR410 production and Future, man, you know, we're going to see the Future again. They have been working on their own project, and I'm really proud of them. I'm like the way DT, he sticks with his stuff. So just keep looking out. There's a lot of new. We got a TV deal on the table. I wasn't gonna say, but we're working on a TV deal. Make sure you check out the radio station, still up and running. Everything's still TRT Productions. So many things underneath the production umbrella. But until we meet again, I want to tell everybody, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you always check out the channel, and make sure you always leave a comment. Anybody else?
Nah, it was set straight.
That was straight?
Yeah.
What about you? Nothing else?
I'm
you
good.
sure?
See me next time.
See you next time. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say good night. Thank you for joining us, and may your evening be better than ours. Good night.
I'd like to welcome you to the show, so nice. Hey, we shining bright. I would like to sing for you a couple songs that I wrote, but let me clear my throat.